How's everybody doing?
Not too bad, I hope.
I'll ask again. How's everybody doing?
Not too bad, I hope.
Shouldn't be doing too bad. Welcome into Clippers Talk. 157 straight days of Clippers Talk. Well, we got a good one for you today as we review the post-game audio and dive into Carlo Jimenez's call on the radio side, since I know those who were watching on the stream last night weren't able to hear it because I was at Intuit Dome, and when that is happening, a lot of the sound we're playing from Burbank doesn't come through on the YouTube side, just on the radio airwaves. Appreciate you guys. Believe me, if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to keep going 157 days straight. If you would like to get on, sometimes I forget, and you guys got to remind me if I do this again. If you would like to get on, 877-520-1150 is the phone number. If you want to call in, we can do that. We have the capabilities here. It's cool. We're going to review the post-game audio. We're going to hear from Brian Shaw. We're going to hear from Kawhi in multiple ways. But I want to start things off with the call from Carlo Jimenez. This is it. The Clippers. Not in a tie game where if he misses it, oh well. We're going double overtime. This is the ultimate high-pressure stakes. We talked about the stakes of this ball game coming in. We didn't know it would come down to a buzzer beater because the Clippers are down by one. Huge difference. These are the toughest shots. This is when you have to be fearless out there. This is when you have to be absolutely at your best and have the level of confidence to do whatever it takes to win. In this case, a Kawhi ISO. Where Coach B. Shaw told him, and we'll hear from him post-game, I don't want them getting another shot up. Here was Carlo Jimenez on the call as the Clippers are down by one late.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down one. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops at 10. Working on Murray. Still has his dribble. 8 seconds. It's Leonard against the world with 6. Dribbles it with 5. Right elbow with 4. Kawhi with 3. Back to the basket. Spins into the paint. The floater for the win. Rolls in! And the Clippers come back to beat the Kings. 111-110. Kawhi, the hero, in overtime and Intuit.
Beautifully done by Kawhi, but beautifully done by Carlo Jimenez here. One more time.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down one. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops.
I need you guys to understand the intricacies of a great call. Carlo here getting into the deets, the details. Ball hovering above the shoe tops. Just listen to how descriptive this is from Carlo Jimenez.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down one. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops at 10. Working on Murray. Still has his...
Giving you the defender. Giving you where he has the ball. How much time there's left on the clock. This is a masterclass in describing a buzzer beater.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down one. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops at 10. Working on Murray. Still has his dribble. 8 seconds. It's Leonard against the world with 6. Dribbles it with...
Leonard against the world. He gets the great line in while still giving you the nuts and bolts with 6 seconds left. It's beautiful.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down one. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops at 10. Working on Murray. Still has his dribble. 8 seconds. It's Leonard against the world with 6. Dribbles it with 5. Right elbow with 4. Kawhi with 3. Back to the basket. Spins into the paint. The floater for the win. Rolls in! And the Clippers come back to beat the Kings.
What a call. Carlo Jimenez, his first buzzer beater call with the Clippers. Won't be the last, but this was just the first buzzer beater in 6 years. The last buzzer beater we got was from Sweet Lou Williams against the Brooklyn Nets in 2019, before Kawhi was on the team. Buzzer beater, not game winner. There's a distinction there. There's a difference. This was shot clock winding down, game clock winding down, red light goes off as the ball is in the air. Kawhi got rid of it. It came off his hands with less than a second left. That's how precise he was with this game winner. Oh, there was going to be no chance for that to go through and the Kings to have any time left to retaliate. Let's hear from Kawhi, speaking of broadcasting greatness, with Christina Pink now in the post-game interview.
Brian, Kawhi, with the game on the line, you came up for this team in the clutch. Walk me through that last shot.
Tried to get to my spot going right. The defender came, cut me off, spin move back, and I just trust my work. Throw it up with the left hand.
Talk about trusting the work. On a night where the shots weren't falling early, what is your mindset in that moment?
Keep shooting. I'm not going to give up. I'll go 0 for 30. But I'm going to have the same mindset to keep shooting. This is what proves it right here.
Kawhi, in a game of massive implications in the standings, you guys also win your third straight at home. What did the urgency feel like for this group tonight?
Very urgent. I said this before, it's going to make or break us. We're playing in playoff basketball games right now with the atmosphere and with every possession counting with the standards that we're in. And, you know, we'll see what happens.
All right, congrats on the dub, Kawhi.
So think about that. Kawhi Friday night, after the victory against the New York Knicks, said he had told the team, this is the stretch that's going to make or break us. Going to find out who we are right now. The very next game, Kawhi comes through with a buzzer beater. And there is a message in here that was a nod to Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant. He and Kawhi were friends. I remember the Clippers were in Orlando that fateful day. They had to play a ball game. Kawhi had the group huddled up and said, let's go out there and bust their ass. That's what Kobe would have wanted. Kobe was his guy. Listen to this part of the interview with Christina Pink.
Talk about trusting the work. On a night where the shots weren't falling early, what is your mindset in that moment?
Keep shooting. I'm not going to give up. I'll go 0 for 30. But I'm going to have the same mindset to keep shooting. This is what proves it right here.
Kawhi, in a game of massive...
I'm going to have the same mindset. I could go 0 for 30. That is a Kobe quote. That is the Mamba mentality. Kobe once said, I would go 0 for 30 before I would go 0 for 9. 0 for 9 means you beat yourself because you've just now lost confidence in yourself. I'm going to keep shooting. Kawhi didn't have to say it explicitly. Many know that is a mindset. That is a quote from Kobe. The game winner one more time as more people are showing up in here.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down 1. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops at 10. Working on Murray. Still has his dribble. 8 seconds. It's Leonard against the world with 6. Dribbles it with 5. Right elbow with 4. Kawhi with 3. Back to the basket. Spins into the paint. The floater for the win. Rolls in! And the Clippers come back to beat the Kings. 111-110. Kawhi, the hero, in overtime and Intuit.
Well done, Carlo Jimenez. I'm going to tell you how difficult that is. That's passing a test with flying colors. He didn't just meet the standard for a buzzer beater, for a game winner. He exceeded it. Killed that. Slayed that. Beautifully done. In a big moment we're going to remember for a long time. The first buzzer beater, the first real game winner at Intuit Dome. Let's hear from Brian Shaw. Here he was post-game filling in for Coach Lou, who was out unexpectedly just moments before tip-off with, I guess he was dealing with some back pain. Here's B. Shaw.
Brian, to your right. Okay. First off, how's Ty doing?
In some pain, his back is bothering him. And so, Ty is tough as nails. And for him to sit out a game, it has to be something that's really, really bothering him. So we're in constant communication with him throughout the game. And the guys, they stayed with it. Tonight was a game that was tough. It was all about perseverance and all the way down to the last shot. Kawhi had a tough night shooting the ball, but I still put my money on him with the ball in the free throw area, making a play for us, and one that we really needed. He got it done for us. James kept us in there, throughout the second half, just making plays as he does. And so, that's when you have two special guys like that. That's what you want them to do. And
believing in Kawhi in the free throw area in the mid-range. This was the thought process going into that final play. What's interesting is I saw this from Justin Wilson at LA Clippers Film post-game. Kawhi has been struggling there. I've been talking about it. But coming into the game last night, he was 31 of 80. That's 39% on paint non-rim field goal attempts this season. It's below league average. Kawhi has been struggling in the mid-range from the spot he hit the buzzer beater. It's unlike him. He's a mid-range master. I expect it to change. I expect him to progress to the mean. He has a long body of work of being able to knock down those shots. But you wonder what this can do confidence-wise for a guy who I believe has only played in 22 games so far this season. You're not at your best, and you still hit, not a game winner, a buzzer beater, down by 1. And his three-point shooting the last couple of games has been woeful. And yeah, it's 22 games so far for Kawhi. I said on X, rough time for Kawhi to have his worst game of the season. Well, take the L at him. He redeemed himself. He is 3 for his last 19 from the outside. After he had been shooting at above 40%. He's 3 for his last 19 from 3. So he's been in a bit of a funk. 7 of 19 yesterday. So he's 6 of 18 going into that shot. He was 6 of 18 against the Knicks. 33% from the field. 9 of 20 the game before that against Phoenix, where he struggled in the fourth shooting-wise. That seemed to carry over, unfortunately, after he got off to a quick start. So can this do the same in a positive direction? More from B-Shot postgame.
Obviously, you guys come home after a rough 8-game road trip that you guys had. Does it feel like things have, turning around for you guys?
I don't know if I'll say that. I mean, look, we're in in a comfortable.
B-Shaw is frank, brutally honest. He's not quick to say, yeah, now we've turned things around because we've won 3 in a row. The standard is higher than that. He needs more evidence to see that, okay, we're in the right direction now.
Them to do.
And obviously, you guys come home after a rough 8-game road trip that you guys had. Does it feel like things have, turning around for you guys?
I don't know if I don't know if I'll say that. I mean, look, we're in in a comfortable in the confines of our arena where we're a lot more comfortable. Obviously the schedule hasn't been too kind for us. Going back to our last game before All-Star break, being on the road, having that game added, and then starting out on the road. We got a couple of our key guys that are in our rotation down, but we're finding a way to get it done. And like I said, tonight Kawhi was having a tough night. He stayed with it. James held us in there, and different guys stepped up at different times. Derrick Jones made a big shot for us in the corner when we needed.
DJ, huge. I need to see how many points he ended up having, Derrick Jones Jr., in the fourth and in overtime alone. They don't win this game without him. Let's see. Let me do the calculation here quickly. So he had 10 points, Derrick Jones Jr., in the fourth quarter in overtime. Huge three-pointer in OT.
And then we got the stops when we needed down the stretch.
Brian, stopping Zach and DeRozan, two of the better closers in the league, not an easy task. How are you guys able just to contain them?
You guys are talking about, Kawhi doesn't have the legs. That's what's going on. I don't think that's necessarily it. I've been watching him closely. He was long on some of these. He was short on some, but he's been long on some of these. And I watch his elevation all the time. I don't think it's that simple. I think he's just in a shooting funk, out of rhythm. I don't think it's, his legs aren't fresh enough. It's still just game 22. I think this is a guy who's just off. And we're probably reading too much into it.
Stopping Zach and DeRozan, two of the better closers in the league, not an easy task. How are you guys able just to contain them and make life difficult? I know they scored, but you guys still made life tough on them.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that you could do. Obviously they are who they are for a reason. Those guys can score with the best of them.
He's talking about Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. I thought that jumper from LaVine at the end of the fourth quarter was going in. I got to be honest.
And as you said, they're two of the best finishers in the game. But, we have to give credit to our guys on the defensive side, too, particularly Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr., Kawhi, and even Amir Coffey, during the minutes that he played tonight. They just made those guys work for everything that they got. And that's what you want to happen. You want, when you get to the fourth quarter and the crunch in the, critical part of the game, hopefully some of that pressure, some of the different looks that they had to face, will take its toll on them and wear them down. Because that's what teams do with us, with James. They send people up to pick him up, make him, have to work, all game long. And, it just came together for us, in the right moment.
So you take overtime, you decide to go to overtime and play Kawhi 50 minutes quick training at this point.
Hey, they were in.
Brad Turner there joking from the LA Times. So you take over for Ty. You decide to go to overtime and play Kawhi 50 minutes. Is that what's going on? Having some fun as he does.
It just came together for us, in the right moment.
So you take overtime, you decide to go to overtime and play Kawhi 50 minutes quick training at this point.
Hey, they were in constant communication with me about his minutes, what have you. So when I knew I only had a couple minutes in the overtime, so we started him, got him out, and then, got him back in the game. But, like I said, when
something I brought up before we went into overtime was, okay, the Clippers going to go for a quick 2 late in the fourth quarter to tie it, or are they going to go for a 3 because they know they might not have Kawhi in OT and he's running out of minutes? Well, they did get the quick 2 with James Harden with the little runner. before the Zach LaVine missed shot. That tied it at 97. James Harden there. Awesome down the stretch. Incredible. They don't win this game without him. But I knew heading into OT, we're heading into some uncertainty, some uncharted waters with Kawhi and his minutes. How much can they use him? They did take him out for a spell, and then brought him back in. He had just played the entire fourth quarter. We'll hear from Kawhi coming up about the minutes and how they were allocated and why it went that way.
That last time out, we're down 1, and we ran the play, crossed everybody over the top to throw the ball at Kawhi at the free throw line. I told him to make sure that he takes the last shot. So win or lose, we're going to go down, having the ball last. Some of the other guys were kind of confused because I think I communicated that to Kawhi, but I didn't communicate it to everybody else. So everybody was waiting for him to do something, and he was just holding the ball patiently and, got to his spot. I wouldn't have expected a left hand, whatever you want to call that, but but he got it done, and I'm happy it went in.
So Kawhi knew the game plan. He was going to run out the clock. He did to perfection. Executed to perfection. That's exactly what B-Shaw was asking for. The rest of the guys weren't so sure. They were kind of looking at him like, we're just going to hold the ball for this long. We're just going to wait. A little bit of awkwardness there, but all's well that ends well.
This when being you guys are fighting for playing spots, top 6, all of those things going on?
Yeah, I mean, we can only control what we do from this point on. And so, Golden State is playing well. There's some other teams that have fallen on hard times, mainly Dallas, who, with all the injuries that they have. Minnesota starting to play a little better. So they're going to do what they're going to do. The games that we have a chance to, control on our own destiny. We have to win games that we're supposed to win. And, and not worry about that. I think that'll take care of itself, once it gets down to that last week of the season. But just try to hold it down until we can get the other bodies back and healthy, and hopefully head into that situation strong and with a deep roster and rotation.
The good news is they got the tiebreaker over the Kings now. They might have put them in the rear view because Sacramento has the second toughest schedule remaining. At least that was their strength of schedule outlook heading into the game yesterday. So the Clippers are technically a game and a half in front of the Kings. Kings in the 9th spot, Clippers in the 8th spot, but really it's 2.5 games because they have the head-to-head tiebreaker, having won the first 3 games between them this season with still 1 to play.
Coach, with James playing so well, were there any thoughts of possibly going through him on that last shot? And then second question, with Kawhi, how many guys do you see that can struggle through the night, with their shooting, and then last second of the game so calmly going back down this game and shot?
This is a great question right here. Listen to this.
Yeah, it was tough. I expected that they felt like, the ball was going to go to James and he was going to make the play for us down the end, which he had, like I said, he had been holding us down, pretty much all night. But it's just, that's a compliment to him in terms of his selflessness. When I did diagram that play for Kawhi at the end, he didn't hang his head or, give me any bad body language. I think he was.
Let me tell you, if he did, B. Shaw would say he did. He is blunt, transparent, super honest. If you heard that exclusive audio we had from Carlo with him pregame that I played on this show a couple episodes ago on Clippers Talk, you will know B. Shaw will not hold back. So awesome to see the buy-in from the team, even though James Harden had just made the shot to put him up by 1 before DeRozan hit those free throws for Sacramento to teeter-totter back up 110 to 109, even though James Harden hit a big three-pointer in overtime. The thought process, the mindset is, they think it's going to James, and that played in to why B. Shaw went to Kawhi instead.
The game so calmly going back down this game and shot.
Yeah, it was tough. I expected that they felt like, the ball was going to go to James and he was going to make the play for us down the end, which he had, like I said, he had been holding us down, pretty much all night. But it's just, that's a compliment to him in terms of his selflessness. When I did diagram that play for Kawhi at the end, he didn't hang his head or, give me any bad body language. I think he was confident with Kawhi, shooting that shot, from his spot. And so I think that threw them off a little bit as well, because Kawhi didn't have it going. But I thought all the shots that he took were good shots. They just didn't go in. And so I played the odds that, the next one would be going in.
Coach, never tell me the odds. He was playing them. I like it. It makes sense. They're going in the painted area. That's where Kawhi has thrived throughout his career. He had missed so many good looks, shots he normally makes, that you got to think the next one's going in. That's not just how Kawhi has to look at it to have confidence in taking the next shot, but also as head coach putting him in that position, your active head coach at the time, and B. Shaw.
Coach, how good was it knowing that the only thing you lost today was 1 hour due to daylight savings?
Pretty good. Only thing they lost was 1 hour due to daylight savings.
Coach, how good was it knowing that the only thing you lost today was 1 hour due to daylight savings?
And that got me and probably a few of us this morning. But I'm glad that that's the only thing we lost was the hour. Like I say, Sacramento, since their coaching change,
20-11 coming into that game with Doug Christie. They had just won 5 of 6. During those 6 games, they had the best defensive rating and best offensive rating in the league, the Kings. They were playing great. Besides what was on the line, the Kings came in hot.
And the trade bringing Levine in there seems like they've been recharged and rejuvenated. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and we wanted to leave out of here tomorrow, with a win in hand, going on the road, and see what we can do out there.
Coach, right here, Coach. In regards to Ivica Zubot, just his presence again today, another double-double for him. Can you just speak on Zubot, just his dominance down low as he's been progressing this whole season?
Yeah, I was with Zoo his first 3 years when he was with the Lakers, and so I've seen his progress, over the years. And I think that he's at a point now where the game is really starting to slow down for him, and his confidence is the highest that I've ever been. And I think the guys around him, their confidence in him is the highest it's ever been. So they feel good when we go inside to him. And that's what we need, is the more people that we can have that opposing teams have to scout for and try to prepare for and defend, it's better for us. It creates more spacing. That means it might be a different guy every night. But one thing that I know we can count on with Zoo is that you're going to get a double-double, on every night. You're going to get at least 10 points. You're going to get at least 10 rebounds. And
something you said there, I want to emphasize and run back. I've been talking about diversity in your offense. This is something I've been stressing for a while. The more guys you have that are threats out there, the more difficult you are to guard. So Ivica Zubot now being more involved, finally, it helps everybody.
And try to prepare for and defend, it's better for us. It creates more spacing. That means opposing teams have to scout for and try to prepare for and defend. It's better for us. It creates more spacing. That means it might be a different guy every night. But one thing that I know we can count on with Zoo is that you're going to get a double-double, on every night. You're going to get at least 10 points. You're going to get at least 10 rebounds and an efficient shooting percentage when we get the ball down to him in his spots. And so we just have to keep feeding that, keep building his confidence, and keep building the other guys' confidence in him when we go inside to him, and just keep learning to play off of each other when he does have the ball, because that creates other openings for us that we really haven't had in the past.
If you don't know what a big fan B. Shaw is, of Ivica Zubot, I'm going to play something that I played the other day for you guys. This was pregame. This was before. What game was this now? Before the game against the Pistons last Wednesday. Here's some exclusive audio you might not hear anywhere else, even though we played it on the radio. B-Shaw gets it. Listen to this.
Thanks so much, Adam. Here, the assistant coach Brian Shaw before the Clippers take on the Detroit Pistons. Coach Zoo, 35 points last game, a career high for him. What does it do for a player during the regular season when you're able to run an offense through him as a number one option that could help maybe down the line in a playoff-like situation?
So this is coming off the loss against the Suns in Phoenix, where Zoo went for his career high of 35. And they probably should have got it to him more. Listen to B. Shaw's tone here about how they should be using him.
Well, I mean, it gives them confidence. We have to get better as a team of recognizing when somebody like that is going the way he was going last night, and as efficient as he was, to keep featuring him and keep feeding him and put our personal agendas and individual accolades aside and keep riding him, because from the beginning of the game, we were feeding him. They were double teaming him, which was why it was so beautiful the way we played in the first half. Everybody was involved. When they double teamed him, he kicked it out. Everybody made the right play. And then we didn't continue to do that in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter. We stopped getting the ball inside to him. And he, this year, obviously, it's been his best year of his career. And he's the biggest advantage that we have on a nightly basis. Teams are coming to double team him, and he's our most efficient player in terms of, scoring and his shot attempts and things of that nature. And so we just have to recognize that and ride it, while we can.
And one more quickly for you.
Did you hear that? I think B. Shaw's a fan of getting into Big Zoo. It makes sense to him. He's that efficient. They can't stop him. Remember, he played next to Shaq. So when he sees a guy, a big man, being dominant out there, he knows you need to feed him the basketball. One more time.
And you're able to run an offense through him as a number one option that could help maybe down the line in a playoff-like situation.
Well, I mean, it gives them confidence. We have to get better as a team of recognizing when somebody like that is going the way he was going last night and as efficient as he was.
We need to recognize when he's going like that, when he's that efficient, get him the damn ball.
To keep featuring him and keep feeding him and put our personal agendas and individual accolades aside and keep riding him, because, from the beginning of the game, we were feeding him. They were double teaming him, which was why it was so beautiful the way we played in the first half. Everybody was involved. When they double teamed him, he kicked it out. Everybody made the right play. And then we didn't continue to do that in the second half, particularly in the fourth quarter. We stopped getting the ball inside to him. And he, this year, obviously, it's been his best year of his career. And he's the biggest advantage that we have on a nightly basis.
He's the biggest advantage we have on a nightly basis. And people wonder why I freak out and have been stressing this for years to get it to Ivica Zubot more. Listen to your assistant coach, your acting head coach last night.
Teams are coming to double team him, and he's our most efficient player in terms of, scoring and his shot attempts and things of that nature. And so we just have to recognize that and ride it, while we can.
All right, so that was B. Shaw pregame Wednesday before the Clippers beat the Pistons. More from B. Shaw coming off last night's victory where he was in for Coach Lou, who was out with back issues. But we have a phone call here. 877-520-1150 is the phone number. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on Clippers Talk with Adam Osland. Hello. Martinez?
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Are you calling in Clippers Talk?
Yes.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm sorry. I'm from Kansas City, and my name is Fabian Martinez.
I need the whole name,
So,
but
yeah.
that's cool. What's up, man? What do you want to say?
I want to say that I was watching last night's game last night, and oh my gosh, yeah, it was really heart wrenching. It was really messed with my heart. You know, I was really thinking that Kawhi was gonna miss that shot because he was doing so poor that night. And honestly, it would have been a whole different story if he missed that shot. But
hey, that's fair, my guy. That's fair. The narrative would have been, why'd they go to Kawhi? He was struggling all night. He ISOs, goes 1-on-3. It is fair if he misses that shot. But I will say this. I think I would have defended this part of it. I understand why you're playing through Kawhi. I understand that you need to get him going, that you need him to have this level of confidence moving forward. So there was logic and rationale, and it wasn't just hero ball. There was more going on there.
No, yeah, for sure. And I watch Dime Dropper and Locked On Clippers. Like he talks about, when James Harden is shooting poorly, it doesn't matter about his field goal percentage. It's overrated if we're winning, but if we're losing, then it starts to matter. Because we start to play more with Zoo, pick and roll. I feel like that's just way it just helps us way better. Yeah.
Well, they ran a lot of high pick and roll when the going got tough late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. And I feel like we were doing that at the start of the season a lot, and it was good. But for some reason, we just stopped, and you could see that with Harden's assist numbers going down. I don't know. Probably the coach Lou was telling him to start shooting more because Norman Powell was off the bench. I mean not off the bench, but is on the bench because he's injured. But honestly, we just need to get back to that. And Harden has been doing that recently. But yeah, during those LA Lakers games, it was just horrible to watch. But I'm just so glad we're on this winning streak, and I believe we can beat the Pelicans next game.
Was it Fabian? Was that your name?
Yeah.
From Kansas City?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on. Appreciate you calling in to Clippers Talk. Don't be a stranger, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
877-520-1150, 877-520-1150 if you want to call in. Usually after one call, it breaks the ice and more people start calling in. But more from B. Shaw post-game last night after the Kawhi buzzer beater. Clippers winning 111-110 over the Kings.
Brian, back here. Do you know if Ty was watching from home, and did he text at halftime or anything?
Yeah, he was talking to a couple of the other coaches. He was watching at home. They FaceTimed him after the game was over, and he looked like he was having a heart attack, feeling the same way that we felt out there, not knowing how it was going to go. But he was happy for us, and we're all wishing that the pain that he's dealing with in his back goes away, and we can get him back ASAP.
And Coach, in that fourth quarter, Sacramento extended their defense, and it seemed like you guys struggled with it, and they threw you guys timing off on offense. What was it that Sacramento was doing that was allowing them to push the lead because they ultimately got up 97-90. You guys ultimately came back, but it seemed like that extension on defense is what took you guys out of your offense and put you guys behind. How are you guys able to combat that?
Yeah, I mean, once James got, when we took James out of the game to start the fourth quarter, our main ball handler was Bogey. Kawhi handled a little bit, but
this is key right here. To get the most out of James Harden and to keep him fresh in a game where he ended up playing 44 minutes. They had him off ball a lot. They've been doing this more and more. This is key to keep his legs so he can hit those shots as he did. A lot of big ones late in the fourth and in overtime.
Like I said earlier, that's the team's all the team strategy is to try to wear James out. They know that we're so dependent on him to run our offense, to score, to get everybody else involved. So they extended their defense. Fatigue set in a little bit. But, to our guys' credit, they kept their poise. When we got down 7, said it was a lot of time left and don't try to get it all back at once. And they made critical.
The Clippers were down 7 with 1:48 left. I saw this somewhere, but The Kings at that point, down 7, the Clippers, fourth quarter, minute 48 left. The Kings had a 95% chance of winning. But that 5% came into effect.
Fatigue set in a little bit. But, to our guys' credit, they kept their poise even when we got down 7. Said it was a lot of time left and don't try to get it all back at once. And they made critical plays when we needed to make them. They got critical stops when we needed to make those stops. And
remember, though, down 7, the next shot from the Clippers was that right-handed just throw it up, see what happens as Kawhi drew the foul and it rolled through. That was that and one. Fabian Martinez here in the chat. You sound good, Fabian. Appreciate you calling in. My head's all over the place after that win last night. But that shot was also key, a sign of things to come from Kawhi. A very difficult shot. He was fouled, gets the and one, and got the roll. And then at the end, he gets another roll.
It all culminated in a victory.
Thank you. All right, there was B. Shaw post game. Some people were talking about Kawhi versus James Harden in here. I'm going to post a clip, a GIF that was turned around pretty quickly by the Clippers social media crew. I don't think there was any issue here, guys. Look at this. Kawhi's coming for the high five. James comes in for the hug. Brother's got a hug. Little Tommy boy there for you. 877-520-1150. You're on Clippers Talk with Adam Oslin. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Adam. Big fan. It's Tom from LA.
What's up, Tom? How we doing?
All good. All good. Thanks for having me.
What do you want to say, Tom?
Adam, it's Tom. I'm just messing with you, bro. No, I was. I'm surprised that worked.
Well, it's on a phone line. I'm not used to talking to you on here, and it did sound it. You disguised your voice. You used the voice scrambler a little bit. It sounded like at the beginning there.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Are you calling in
no,
so we don't see your brother with his shirt off in the background, so we're not doing video? Is that what
I
this is
have
about?
no idea what you're speaking about. I don't know what you're discussing. This is all new information to me. I disagreed with your Zubot take. That was it.
Oh, what do you want to say? You agreed or
No,
disagreed?
I mean the same thing. No, I agree. I mean the same thing I asked Ty yesterday pregame. You got to. I feel like they got to play through Zoo a little bit more. I think it's a low turnover offense when they play through Zoo, and just let him kind of do the work, get double teamed, and play out of those.
Yeah, I mean, the efficiency, you can't argue with it. And if he's passing this well out of the double team, you're creating advantages. So take advantage of it. Like, there's no issue there. Like, the talk before had been, well, they're doubling Zubots. It's like, great. So then there's an open man. And even if he's not finding that guy, somebody else can after the kick out from him and the swing. That's what it's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think yesterday was one of those kind of just complete wins. I didn't even notice it, but you mentioned a 95% win probability when they were down 97-90 with about a minute 48 after that Levine jump shot. I mean, honestly, just credit the defenders. I mean, I know, Chris Dunn almost got scored on at the end there in regulation, but he did a solid job on Zach, as solid as you can on a scorer like him. And then, Derek Jones did a great job yesterday. I think Amir even, I know the shot making wasn't there, but he had a few good moments defensively. So everyone just was it felt like they were on a string yesterday. I know it was a little, too close for comfort, but it felt like all night they were kind of there and just mentally staying tough, like we talked about a couple of days ago, and they were able to get over the hump. So, it was a great win, a great overall team win.
Could you put to rest the Harden versus Kawhi perceived rift that some people are trying to, I don't know, push in the chat here? It seemed like they're pretty lovey-dovey to me.
I'm gonna break some news here. James hates No, I'm just kidding. I mean, there was nothing there. Like, no. I mean, you just saw James run up and hug Kawhi right after. Like, he hugged him and pushed him all the way back towards half court as Kawhi was laughing. Like, I don't know where that was even coming from, but I thought it was I thought it was a good point by B. Shaw that James was playing so well. He had the flotation going all night, or especially in the fourth quarter. That I think the Kings kind of expect him to go to James, maybe a pick and roll with Zoo, and they kind of just threw the ball to Kawhi and said, "All right, go get us a bucket, make sure we're the last shot, and take us home." And it really did work. So obviously it looks a little better when the shot goes in, but no, I don't think there's any rest. I mean, Kawhi, James talked about it after the game. He said that's an all-time great. Big time players make big time shots, and he's seen him put the work in behind the scenes of practice and over the years. So I don't think he had any problem with that. I think they're both very, very highly capable of getting those kind of shots to go. So I wouldn't say there's any kind of I mean, they won the game. I don't know how you can. They're fine. I don't know what you can say about that.
People are saying I didn't save your number in the phone, so I couldn't see that it was pre-screened. It actually does say Azarly, but it says Koros H. Azarly.
Oh, yeah, that's my dad's name.
So are you using his phone?
So you
I don't remember him calling in.
Names. You told Fabian not to get full names, but now you give my dad's full name on the air?
I'm sorry.
This is crazy.
I'm just wondering.
This is insane.
I'm not trying to dox anyone. We get your brother with the shirt off. We get your dad's full name now. Like, this is
Adam, it's
all
been a hell of a week
access.
for you and me, man. What's going on?
All access is Arlie's is what's happening here.
Seriously.
I'm sorry. Is there anything else you heard post game that is something I must play here as I go through the audio? I know James spoke. I know Kawhi spoke. I think Ivica Zubot spoke post game. Is there a particular quote that I need to make sure to get to since you were there last night?
Yeah, I mean, the only two that I can really kind of just touch on before I hop off is I asked James about there's only a month left in the season. You know, everyone seems to be kind of putting that chemistry together right now, and he gave a really good quote about how they're kind of putting it together at the right time, and really figuring it out. Even though they still have Ben to add and Norm to add, I think they're figuring it out at the right time. And then Kawhi addressed, I don't know if you addressed it, but he addressed his minutes restriction, how they had to, kind of start him in overtime, but then sit him for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then bring him back in. It was just, Brian Shaw was saying he was in constant communication with the bench and the staff about Kawhi's minutes, but he just said, Kawhi said, I just wanted to finish the game no matter what. Like, they played so hard, he just wanted to finish the game. So I actually really those quotes, the one from James and the one from Kawhi.
All right, we'll get to those. Do you got any intel on Coach Lue? Is he going to be okay to fly with the team? What type of back problems? When did you hear that he was out? Like, when did the players know about this?
Oh, I mean, I think the game tipped off at 6:30, and I got the text at 6:23, 6:24, something like that. So it was right before tip-off. And I think they knew just before their meeting, like maybe about a half hour before, that it wasn't going to happen. He wasn't going to be available. But look, I mean, when you have back pain, the solution really isn't going to 3 cities in 4 days and having a back-to-back in hotel rooms and sitting on planes the whole time, right? So I guess TBD, we'll see if he's traveling. Bishaw mentioned it, but it takes a lot to have to keep Ty Lue off the sidelines. So it must have been, just an immense amount of discomfort for him. So, I still TBD. They're going to let us know if he's traveling. I would imagine, again, this is not any kind of report, but I would imagine he might miss a portion of that just because it's going to be, again, that back pain. If you've had it, it's tough, and you go hotel room to hotel room and planes and all that. It's just not going to help. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys informed. But for now, just no word yet on Ty.
So my hearing is so shit right now, unless I'm plugged into an amplifier like I am currently. I can't hear a lot of what's being said pregame, especially because it seems like people are talking really low and they're asking Coach Lue questions. Maybe you could help me out there and really scream into the microphone next time. But what was the update on Ben Simmons pregame?
Yeah, I mean, if you stop doxing people, maybe you can hear us.
Woo! Damn.
No, I mean, Ben is still considered day to day. I had a conversation with him the other day about his knee, and he just took a hard hit to his knee from Trey Jamison III on the Lakers from that first Laker game they had, and it kind of just swelled up a little bit on him. Again, nothing too concerning. They just wanted to manage it, make sure it's back to a point where he can just play. They have an upcoming back-to-back here, so like he wouldn't have played in one of these anyways. So I think it kind of makes sense just to keep him back here, keep the rehab, make sure he gets back on the court. And hopefully, I think the hope is that when they get back home for whoever that is on Sunday, that he'll be available to play. But Charlotte, there you go. Yeah. I think that's the hope. But again, we don't really know yet. I think we'll know. Like Norm's reevaluation date is also when they come back from this trip. So I think we'll get updates from the team about Ben and Norm after this trip is over. But I just, again, with travel, that can also affect inflammation and swelling in the knee. So, like, you just want to manage and make sure that he's as close to 100% as possible before you bring him back.
I got a good question here. I'm going to pat myself on the back for this one. Which game do you have Kawhi playing in coming up? Is it the game on Tuesday in New Orleans or the game on Wednesday in Miami?
That's tough. Let's see. Miami's 29 and 34.
That's the good question. Like
17 and 48.
Conventional wisdom would say you should play him against the tougher team, which would be Miami based upon the record. But Zion's been playing again, and you want to build off of some momentum with the type of victory they just got and play him the very next game.
I mean, the only reason I would play him against New Orleans might be if there's some kind of conference record tiebreaker down the line. I can't imagine it even goes that far.
I didn't think of that.
I really can't imagine it goes that far. Like right now, they're 21 and 21 in the conference. The Kings are 23 and 21. The Mavericks are 22 and 23.
They don't need the conference against the Kings because they have the head-to-head against them.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, you never know how these things try to shake out. I doubt they'll need that. But if I were to guess, I would play against the West team. Yeah, play against the West team, but then not play against the East team. But I don't know. Kawhi's had success against Miami in the past, so who knows? I don't know.
Do you believe in a win in this way can be a springboard forward for this team? Like, it's not just that they won 3 games in a row. It's how they just won before leaving and heading out on the road with Kawhi having the ball in his hands for the final shot. Do you think this could be some turning point, or as Nico Batum once said, something was born out of that victory?
I mean, honestly, this remains to be seen. Like, I think when they're at home, they're just a different team for whatever reason. Like, they have had, it just feels like they've had very few struggles at home. Like, they have a 22 and 10 record at home. And I saw some of the ratings on the broadcast. Like, they're one of the best teams at home this year. When it comes to like turnovers, offensive rating, defensive rating. So it's really just finding a way to carry that out onto the road. That mental toughness we talked about, making sure that you're not getting too, warped in a couple bad plays or a 10-0 run that you give up or too many turnovers. It's really just maintaining that. Like, I think obviously wins like this help jumpstart you, but it's not like they have in the past. Like they've played well at home and then gone on the road and struggled. So for whatever reason, if they can just bottle up whatever they had at home, a great win against the Pistons or Harden went for 50, a really good win against a tough physical Knicks team, and then the win the other night they had against the Kings. Like, if they can just find a way to build off that somehow, I don't know, on the road, that'd be very beneficial. I really don't know what to say because, again, 22 and 10 at home, 13 and 19 on the road. It's very strange for a team, to be this good at home, but also this poor on the road.
Last one for you here, Tomer, and I don't know what you thought when you called in, but obviously I'm going to milk you pretty good here and make sure I get everything out of you and not turn this into just a 30-second conversation. But as much as I talk about needing to play through Ivica Zubac more, and they have been, I also feel like for this team to reach its peak, Kawhi has to be the number one option. He has to be the guy. And for them to go to him late in that ball game last night and trusting him even on an off shooting night for the buzzer beater to take the final shot, do you think that's meaningful? Do you think this is establishing some hierarchy or pecking order out there, knowing that he's still your superstar and they go as far as Kawhi takes him?
I don't think it's about establishing a hierarchy. Like, I think there's a very clear, in order for us to get to where we want to get to, Kawhi has to be the number one option at his best. He has to get to peak Kawhi or as close to peak Kawhi as possible. James is obviously very capable, like we saw him going for 30, 35, 450 even, and will be kind of the second option. And then Zoo, again, another guy that you can just rely on. I think yesterday was just more important to establish his confidence more than anything. Like, I think, not that he's not a guy who doesn't have confidence, but a game that you're shooting 6 of 18, you really, I think he shot 2 of 9 in the second half, it was third and fourth quarters before he had that shot in overtime. Just establishing a confidence level in him. Just, hey, go get to your spots. We've seen, if you watch Kawhi pregame, he works on that left and right hook shot every single game. He turns to the right shoulder, turns to the left shoulder, and takes that hook shot every single game. Now, every single pregame. Now, we haven't really seen him take that in the game, but, that hard work pays off. So, really, I think it's just about establishing that confidence in him as your number one guy and just building that chemistry. Because before he came back, we saw James was rolling, we saw Norm was rolling, we saw Zoo was rolling. So really just about establishing his confidence in this group together, and not like a Kawhi and the other guys. It's a group collective effort. It's looked good at times, it's looked poor at times. I think we can all admit that. But I think the progress is definitely there. You can see the chemistry building. And so, again, all I can hope is that they kind of are able to carry that onto the road.
What are you working on next for clutch points? Are you going to do a story on Big Zoo and include that sound from B-Shaw I played earlier?
You ever had so many ideas that you just get overwhelmed and want to do nothing?
Yeah. Paralysis. Yeah.
So so I have like a thing on Chris Dunn that I'm working on. I actually just spoke with Ben Simmons yesterday on a one-on-one. And then but that Zoo thing we talked about as well, where maybe they should play through him a little more. There's a lot of things I'm, kind of working on. Those are the three main things. Hopefully I get a lot of them out this week. Unfortunately, my MacBook battery decided to die, so I had to send it into the Apple store. So for the next day or two, I will be without a MacBook. But, hopefully they get it back to me quickly and I can get back to work.
He is Tomer Azarly of Clutch Points. Follow him at Tomer Azarly, Azarly. Follow his father at KOR. Okay, sorry. Tomer, thanks for doing this here.
Wow, that is crazy.
I'm sorry I had
That is
to.
amazing.
I don't know. I don't remember when your father came down, but for some reason that's the screen name that came up when you called in. So I don't know. It's not my fault, man. Okay. Don't be upset with me. I don't want to be on the wrong side of a vendetta against the Azarly family or anything like that. Okay. So appreciate you, your brother, your father, everybody. It's all love. Thanks for calling into Clipper Talk.
I appreciate you. One thing is I need you to take some accountability. You can't be backing off the accountability like this. Own it. Own it. You did it. Own it. It is what it is, man.
Wait, when your brother owns it, I'll own it, okay? That was that strip tease we got last time out.
There you go. There you go.
Deflecting again.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, Tomer. There goes Tomer Azarly calling in to Clippers Talk, 877-520-1150. Gave us some tips on what we're about to hear, though. Post-game, we got James Harden and then some Kawhi Leonard post-game audio from last night.
Through the regulation, you guys, I think we're down 2, and you guys, you're able to continue to float multiple times in this game. Like, what was your process on that?
Just get the best shot available. He's playing close. Got by him and nobody stepped up. So, trying to finish.
Vishal was saying that because you kind of had it going down the stretch and Kawhi had been struggling for most of the night, that it might have thrown him off a little bit to give him the ball in that moment there down the stretch. But can you just talk about the level of trust that you have in him, even when he does have an off night, to give him the ball in that situation?
He's big time. Players make big time plays, and he's done it throughout his entire career. We struggle. We when the time is needed, he step up and make a big time shot. So. He had a lot of opportunities. When we talked about after the game, he had a lot of opportunities where it's basically like layups for him, a mid-range jump shot that he missed. But the confidence don't change, because he puts the work in. So, for him to step up and hit a game winner like that, it shows the confidence and the type of player he is.
I mean, Kawhi and James Harden are close, guys. Their lockers right next to each other. This whole perceived quarrel or whatever, there's nothing to it. Let's stamp out that false narrative immediately here. You just heard how James was talking about Kawhi has done this so many times. He was missing gimmies earlier in the game. He had no issue with Kawhi taking that shot.
What can you say just about that shot making down the stretch? You, Kawhi, Zach, and DeRozan.
Oh, who's this? It sounds like Tomer Azarly here. I think we just stopped with this guy.
Like that, shows the confidence and the type of player he is.
James, what can you say just about that shot making down the stretch? You, Kawhi, Zach, and DeRozan on that, and what was that kind of chess match like?
Some unbelievable, players individually that can get their shot off and create and do their thing. And we've seen obviously Zach and Debo do it for a long time, and then obviously Kawhi. So just I feel like the confidence you get to your spots, and everybody has their own spot where they get to their spot. I don't think it's on the defense. I think it's on the player. Whether they miss it or make it. So I'm just happy. We got the win tonight.
When did you find out Ty wouldn't be able to coach tonight?
Right before the game.
Is it awkward for you guys to kind of play without him?
I mean, we haven't done it yet. That was our first time. So I think our coach is prepared. We're prepared. We all understand what's at stake and what we have to do to win. Tonight wasn't the prettiest, but we'll take the win. So I think Bishal and the coaching staff did an unbelievable job of on the fly stepping up and helping us with the win.
James, despite the struggles that you guys have had maybe on the road, at home court seems to be a big place of confidence for you guys. We established home court and everything. What is it about home that you guys just play so well and come out there with energy?
Colbert.
I don't know. Home is home. We expect to play home well at home. For us, is taking that same swagger that we got at home and on this 3-game road trip, keeping it up.
James, first off, it was really cool seeing you with Jay Crow and at Taj and Elijah's game. But one thing Elijah told me when he was training with you,
I think a lot of people don't understand. They don't know me and who I am really and what I do and the work that I put in. And I mean, just for me being able to last this long and still be productive at this level at this age, I mean, something has to be. The work has to be being put in. You know what I mean? And they can have to say stories and make up things, outside and whatever. But like eventually, or hopefully, when I'm done, people really understand the true work that I put in and what I've done for this game. So, for me, it's like just do it. Really, And if if I get in contact with you, which Elijah was able to work out with me, then you will see it and you'll be a part of it. But yeah, man, I just love it. I love the work. I love, and once you put the work in, like it was times where I come in at night and shoot and feel confident, and I go put up 40 this year, and there's times where I can put the work in, I feel good, and I come in and had 12 points. Like, but the work don't stop. You don't change. You still have to continue to build that confidence on a day-to-day basis. Because that makes a special player that I am today. So, don't stop.
James was asked about why he doesn't push the fact that he's such a hard worker and shows up early, stays late, and emphasize that on social media or show off that, hey, look at me putting in the work. He basically was saying here, it sounded like he'd done a workout with Elijah Harkless, and Harkless thought that the workout was done, and that was just the warm-up. So it's just a different level. It's not by accident that James Harden has turned into a top 75 player ever. I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen coming out of Arizona State. He's an extremely hard worker. The perception of him is that, oh, he likes to party and do this or that. It's like, you can't just play basketball 24/7. Like, guys are going to have downtime. But even with him still having a life, he is one of the most dedicated workers out there. And that gets lost sometimes in the discussion about James Harden. So somebody asked him about it because it's apparent that he is an incredibly hard worker to be this good at this age. The work shows out there.
James, how are you kind of watching? How is the chemistry developing with you, Bogey? Obviously, Bogey's been thrown into different roles, but Kawhi's, getting to himself now. Like, how are you seeing everyone kind of develop that chemistry together?
It's forming when it needs to form. And, hopefully in the near future we get Norm back and we get Ben back and we get a full roster, making a playoff push and trying to do something special with this team. But we haven't had that yet this year. You know what I mean? So I think that's the most exciting part, that Kawhi's fully healthy. He played 40 minutes tonight. And our team is we have a lot of depth and a lot of guys that can play multiple positions and do a lot of different things on both ends of the ball. So I think that's the exciting part, is getting the full roster healthy. But until then, we still got to keep pushing away. I think I said we got 19 games left, and every game is crucial for real. Like, you look at the standings, and it's flip flop. So
Given that those guys are so crucial for you guys, only a month left in the season, like, do you feel like you guys have enough time to put enough together on the court and see what you guys have?
I got no other choice.
There was James Harden post game. We'll hear from Kawhi in a second, but I think there's obviously a level of excitement from the players knowing that we haven't had the full squad. There's still much more we can do and show once we get whole. And maybe there is that excitement surrounding the full potential of this team once they get healthy. It's only the tip of the iceberg that we've seen so far after the trade deadline, just getting Kawhi back. Norm's been out. So that's part of the hope that this team can get healthy, and then you see where their ceiling's really at and see if they can make a run. 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150. We got another caller here. What's your name? Where are you calling from here on Clippers Talk?
What's up, Big Dog Adam?
Oh, is this J-Dog?
Yes, sir.
What up, J-Dog? How you doing?
What's up, Adam? I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing better after that game last night. I'm feeling much better.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, I know. Yeah, we're not on the time limit today, Adam, because I got a few stuff I got to say.
All right, go ahead. You got a few minutes here, J-Dog, and then we'll hear from
Okay,
Kawhi.
because usually you just give us 30 seconds on when you're into it.
Oh
so.
yeah, that's
just wanna-
because it's a radio show, and I am up against the
okay.
clock a little bit, so there's the difference
Okay,
there.
sure.
But I got time today, cuz as
Say
somebody
less.
once said,
Say less.
go get it.
That's all you got to say. All right, well, people don't understand that we need both Harden and Kawhi. You saw the clutch shots Harden was making down the stretch. It would be much harder if it was just Harden or just Kawhi making those shots, and then have to make the shots in OT as well. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
It's much easier with two competent scorers rather than just having when we have Harden, when Kawhi is sitting out the back-to-backs. It's better having the two. So I don't get why there's the division going on in the comments of trying to divide the players, like how they're trying to make it Kawhi versus James Harden, which is kind of stupid because we need both of these guys to bring us home in these tight games. That's exactly what we got both these guys for. They're both clutch players. James Harden could be the main option, though, has his slippage on his own, but that's why he has Kawhi Leonard to balance it out with some efficient mid-range shooting, more efficient shots, higher percentage shots, rather than just a pull-up, step-back three or something, So that's the first point I wanted to make.
Yeah, they feed off of each other because
Yeah.
once the attention was on James Harden, because it looked like he was the focal point, well, then there's less on Kawhi. That's how it works. You need two guys at least in this league to win.
Exactly. I don't know why people are trying to cause division between them. It's kind of it's a little silly, but that was the first point I wanted to make. Also, can we acknowledge Derrick Jones Jr.? That when we picked him up in the offseason, I think we all said it, but I was real optimistic about it off the bat. I thought it was going to be a crucial signing since the offseason, like I said, because his athleticism alone out there is just a threat on its own. And he can knock down clutch shots, and he can shoot floaters in the paint, too. I'll take that any day.
The one thing I said about Derrick Jones Jr., and I really liked the signing, and that was the first pivot, because they signed him immediately after they released that statement that talks had broken off with Paul George and he wasn't going to be back with the Clippers. You saw them leaning in to defense by signing him right off the bat then. The one thing I said, though, was can he transfer over the way he was shooting in the playoffs last year from three with the Dallas Mavericks, where he was about 37%. And that was an outlier for him based upon his career 32% three-point percentage. And so far, this season, with just 18 games left, he is at 37% from three. He's .367 to be exact. So he's just under it. He's above league average from three. That is all I was asking for, because everything else is there. His slashing ability, the defense, obviously. But as long as he makes you pay for leaving him open from the outside, J-Dog, that's all they needed.
That's exactly what I'm saying, because I'm I thought I was being delusional when we signed him, but I'm this guy was a player that just went on a finals run as a starter, like, and people were trying to like underplay that like it was nothing. I'm like, what? But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And I'm just like, now that we have Derrick Jones and we get to see him every night playing defense, you can see why PG got clamped last playoffs. That was crazy. And I was there. I was there live watching that playoff game. Like, I saw him get clamped up live in effect when we got blown out by, I don't know, what was it, 30 or 20 something in game 5?
Yeah, game 5 was brutal. They got shellacked.
Sheesh. My God. I was there. I think it pissed me off. And yeah, that's why I like Derrick Jones Jr. for that. And then I also like too how James Harden, people don't realize how hard the passes are that James Harden makes. Like, those wraparound passes under the basket with all those bigs and the traffic inside, and he wraps it around to Coffee out in the 3. Derrick Jones Jr. out in the 3. I'm like, we're watching that from the outside, and I can't even see those passes. I don't even know how that guy's getting them through. Like, that's tough. I hoop every weekend, and I would not be able to make those passes.
The pass that he made when Valanciunas hedged on the screen with just about 1:30 left in the fourth quarter.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The pocket pass back to Ivica Zubac for the two-handed throwdown, as Zach LaVine wanted none of that, as he was the low man. That pass is unbelievable. He doesn't get enough credit for his passing.
Oh, no, with that little backspin on there, with the underhand, oh, my God. People have no idea. Like, unless you've played ball, unless you've hooped or played any sports, people don't realize how hard it is to do what he does on the floor. Like, the pick and roll, just for example, those passes with Zoo in the pick and roll, it's crazy how they look so easy and they look fundamental, you would think. But if anyone else in the league tries to do that, I kid you not, those passes are getting picked off 9 times out of 10. And I could literally name a few players on probably both or one of my hands who can get these passes through and split the defenders like how James Harden does, because that's tough. To beat the double team how he does is different. That's why to me, he's a GOAT.
He's one of
people start to realize that
the greatest offensive engines in the history of the NBA. He is an offense unto himself, because not only can he score, get his own, but he gets guys involved and he makes life easier for them. Anything else, J-Dog?
Exactly. Yeah, and to carry on that, he's giving Zoo one of his best seasons ever. I'm not comparing Zoo to Shaq at all, but if I looked up Shaq's numbers in his prime, they say he was averaging 23 points, 10.9 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Zubot in the last 10 games, he's been averaging 18 points. Let's round it up, 18.7, 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 2.3 assists and 1 block a game. Like, that's pretty close. It's pretty close right there.
My guy, you might have sold Shaq a little bit short. He averaged.
Did I?
My guy, over.
I was looking at his Lakers. I was looking at his Lakers numbers, his prime Lakers numbers.
Well, we're talking 26 and 13, 28 and 11, 26 and 11, 30 and 14. His MVP. His MVP season.
I got stat news right here saying he's on 23. He was averaging 23 points. But I guess that's assuming through his whole 19 seasons. I'm assuming that's average.
Yeah, that's his career. That's his career average. Yeah. Not his prime average.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Shaq was a monster, but it's not like Zoo can't have some Shaq-like games here and there. He can't average what Shaq did, but he can have some games here and there that remind you of Shaq.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. He's the closest thing we have to him right now on the post, to a traditional center.
Yeah.
He's the closest thing we have to. To me, it's aesthetically pleasing. I don't know about anyone else, but I like how it looks.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. When I've been posting for 5 years now, the old Reebok logo with Shaq dunking. When Zoo is really detonating, and he's dunking with 2 hands, like he did off that play we talked about in the fourth quarter. That, to me, the way he kicks his legs out sometimes, that is reminiscent of Shaquille O'Neal. And I've been joking for a while. I know Dime Dropper calls him Zoo Shaq. Some call him, what is it? Shaq Zoo instead of Shaq Fu.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good. But that old logo, sometimes when it beats the Zubot's dunks, it looks a little bit like homage to Shaquille O'Neal. Not saying he's the same player
No
at
doubt.
all, but there just are some similarities once in a while.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, exactly. That's all I had to say. And only last thing, you were right about Carlo, the call on the game winner. Obviously, we can't hear those because we're watching it on FanDuel, I believe. So it's Brian Siemens' call, and we also got to appreciate Brian Siemens too, man.
Oh yeah, Brian.
He's up there with one of the best announcers, bro.
Brian has a very special place in my heart because I grew up listening to him some and then got to work with him. And so it's just assumed that Brian Siemens' call is always going to be great. And I heard it last night and he had the hot damn. The reason I'm emphasizing Carlo's call like this is because this was his first opportunity really for a Clippers game winner buzzer beater type shot like that. And he knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree. It was a nice call too. Hearing it from here on the Clippers talk for the first time earlier. I was in the gym. I was on the treadmill when you were playing it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, that was a nice call. Yeah, like I said, there's an art to it. You know, it's media. He was building up the tension, if you want to say, with details, like how you were pointing out earlier, and that's important in a play-by-play announcer or a game.
Oh yeah, he's got it's a totally different thing. And Brian Seaman would be more descriptive when he was on the radio versus TV. It's a different art in itself. Brian's obviously one of the GOATs, and we got another young GOAT here in Carlo Jimenez, but appreciate the phone call, J-Dog. Some great points by you as always.
Yeah, sir, you got it. As I said, shout out to Brian Seaman and Carlo Jimenez for being some good Clippers announcers.
You know what? Let's go to him one more time. Here's Carlo on the call.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down 1. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops at 10. Working on Murray. Still has his dribble. 8 seconds. It's Leonard against the world with 6. Dribbles it with 5. Right elbow with 4. Kawhi with 3. Back to the basket. Spins into the paint. The floater for the win. Rolls in! And the Clippers come back to beat the Kings. 111-110. Kawhi, the hero, in overtime and Intuit.
Chills. Well done, Carlo. Him, Enes. People are still coming up with nicknames for beats of Zubot, Zubar, Zual Cinder is another one, Zupak. But let's talk about the man of the hour and hear from him post-game. Here was Kawhi Leonard afterwards in the locker room.
Last minute of the game. What's the process you were going through in that moment?
Just trying to run down the clock, get the last shot. B. Shaw wanted me to shoot the last shot with the time expiring, and that's what was going through my process, trying to get the court organized, and was able to do that.
Was the left hand all that was left for you at that moment? That's where the defense cleared out for you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much read the defense, got to a spot on the floor, and was able to get a shot off.
So you've been saying slow as pro for a moment now. Like, what do you mean by that? And
I have not said that. You have not heard me say that.
Okay, this is good. So La Murray brings up the Pat Bev slow is pro quote. I need you guys to hear this to get the context of this. But Kawhi denies it and said, you never heard me say it. It was Patrick Beverly quoting Kawhi Leonard. So listen to this.
And I always like to give Kawhi's wisdom. He goes to me, hey, Pat, you know, slow is pro. 15 minutes go by, I text him, slow is pro. What would you mean? I took it one way. I took it this way. What did you mean? He meant, I'm just meaning in life, period, Pat. Mistakes usually happens when you rush. So slow is pro. And guess what pro is, Pat? You guessed right, it's slow. Did he hit me with the, yeah, Pat, we all crazy. You just like to show yours. Shout out to Kawhi, man. He's great. That's my dog.
When you know.
All right. So here's Law asking him about that.
Time expiring, and that's what was going through my process, trying to get the court organized, and was able to do that.
Was the left hand all that was left for you at that moment? Okay. That's where the defense cleared out for you?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much read the defense, got to a spot on the floor, and was able to get a shot
Slow
off.
as pro. Here we go.
So you've been saying slow as pro for a moment now. Like, what do you mean by that? And
I have not said that. You have not heard me say that.
Kawhi is like holding back a smile. You have not heard me say that. Correcting law, being like, Patrick Beverly said it. He said I said it, but I've never really said it.
What do you mean by that? And
I have not said that. You have not heard me say that.
I've seen somebody under Kawhi's name saying Postgame. What would that mean if you were about that?
What did he say here?
Saying Postgame. What
he says something under his breath.
I've seen somebody under Kawhi's name saying Postgame. What would that mean
if you know, you know? Is that what he said?
Somebody under Kawhi's name saying Postgame. What would that mean if you were about that slow as pro?
This can mean a lot of different things. It's a process. Can mean whatever journey you're in. You're not gonna get it in a day. It takes time, and don't be in a rush in a sense. So it's for you to pretty much explain it for yourself or interpret it for yourself. But yeah, you could use it in a lot of different ways.
Life lessons from Kawhi Leonard, the philosopher, on his saying, slow is pro. But you did not hear me say that, he says.
A little fist punch after the ball went through the net. Kind of in that moment, what's kind of just going through your mind?
Just grateful we got the win, happy the ball went in, and yeah, that's it really.
Kawhi, is a moment like that maybe a little more satisfying given,
Oh, who's this? Is this Tomer? They always get questions in next to one another, Rousseau and Tomer.
Yeah, that's it really.
Kawhi, is a moment like that maybe a little more satisfying given, the last year and everything you've kind of gone through?
No, I'm not thinking about that. It's one game. My goal is to be healthy at the end of the season so I can have a good summer. I'm not worried about doing a whole rehab process again or missing a training camp. But yeah.
You see your teammates.
That's interesting from Kawhi. Putting it in perspective, it's one game. It's not some big I'm back type of moment, which I wondered about because he had that before coming off the ACL when he hit that game winner in Charlotte on the right elbow. He said, I'm back, did the chest bump with Marcus Morris. I want to hear this once more from Tomer.
Kind of in that moment, what's kind of just going through?
Went in and yeah, that's it really.
Kawhi, is a moment like that maybe a little more satisfying given, the last year and everything you've kind of gone through?
No, I'm not thinking about that. It's one game. My goal is to be healthy at the end of the season so I can have a good summer. I'm not worried about doing a whole rehab process again or missing a training camp. But yeah.
The goal is to get out of the season healthy so he doesn't have to do rehab again this summer. You forget that. He missed training camp. This is why they talked about this long ramp-up process with actual regular season games being treated like preseason games when he first came back, and all the hoops and hurdles he's had to jump through and the benchmarks he's had to hit to get to this point. So when you say, okay, Kawhi's off or he's washed, he doesn't look the same, it's like he didn't have a training camp. He probably couldn't work out the way he typically would like to. Couldn't go as hard as he wanted. So, yeah, he could be a little bit rusty. But there's still, where are we at, 18 games left in the season? Hopefully he can go in 14 of those. I think there's just enough runway for him to get all the way up to speed. But this is somebody who has had to worry about rehab all the time during summers. Last year, off the swelling, and then a procedure. The year before that, off the meniscus procedure. So that's very challenging for players. And that's why he's talking about just wants to have a summer where he doesn't have to rehab and can just train.
Your teammates react that way. What does that mean to you and to them, you think?
It's great. We need these wins down this stretch. I think this will help us be a better team moving forward. So, us getting that win, everybody was excited, and I know we needed it.
What was it like having a moment like that with the crowd, just knowing that they've been behind you guys all season long to give an overtime victory like that, particularly game winner. Just what was it like to have them behind you in that way?
Oh, it's great. They've been good all year. They're starting to trickle in even more. It's been real loud in here. Appreciate them coming and supporting us through the ups and downs. And, hopefully we could make a playoff push for them.
Well, what is that?
I just noticed like the detail of the last shot for me, like you just said, not being in a rush, but get to the elbow, check the shot clock, see where the shot clock's at.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get on 2 feet, have your balance, then get to the left floater. What can you say to kids in terms of that? Making sure you get to your spot, check your surroundings before you get to your move and finish games.
Really cool question here. Process of getting to a spot and how everybody can learn from it.
Just be patient. Even with this 5 seconds on the clock, 3 seconds, you still got a lot of time to get a shot off. You don't got to catch and shoot it right away. And just trust your work. Whoever comes to my pregame workouts, y'all see me get into that left hook or into those spots. And, it worked out for me tonight.
Well, when you look at kind of the chess match the stretch with you, James scoring, them having Zach and DeMar going back and forth, like James said it felt more like guys just making shots and maybe not getting stops. Like, what did that feel like, that back and forth you guys had?
It was I didn't enjoy it. I love the scoring of basketball, but
Delbear asking about just the scoring outburst and the tough shot making going down the stretch of this game. Kawhi joking, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like seeing Sacramento hit those shots.
Yeah, just trust your work. Whoever comes into those spots and
guys just making shots and maybe not getting stops. Like, what did that feel like, that back and forth you guys had?
It was I didn't enjoy it. I love.
He gave a little Kawhi laugh. Did you guys hear that? I didn't enjoy it. Right afterwards.
That back and forth you guys had.
It was I didn't enjoy it. I love the scoring of basketball, but those are great players. DeMar getting to his spots, just rising up over us and knocking down his his famous 2-pointer pull up, and Zach getting to the paint, hitting a big 3. They did a great job, and James pretty much helped us win this game down the stretch, being who he is, and DJJ making 2 threes or big 3s down the stretch, Zoo being good and knocking free throws. So they propelled us tonight, and thank them for it.
What was that? I mean, obviously, before you get to overtime, Zach has a shot just bounce off the rim. What was that like, watching that shot almost go in?
At that moment, I was trying to make sure DeMar didn't get a tip in and hit the back rim and rolled out. We thought we had a game from there.
When you went out on overtime and came back, how much were you pushing to come back in, or were you guys all talking about?
I wanted to play. All
right, here's Kawhi about his minutes. This is very important. Tomer brought this up earlier.
Were you guys all talking about?
I wanted to play.
Back. How much were you pushing to come back in, or were you guys all talking about?
I wanted to play. I'm kind of capped on a minutes base, but 36 is a lot of minutes. But
I'm kind of capped. 36 is a lot of minutes, so they're not trying to go past 36. He has been, but I guess there's a little bit of flexibility there. Obviously, Laker game went 40, played over 37 against Phoenix. But Kawhi said, I wanted to play.
I wanted to play. I'm kind of capped on a minutes base, but 36 is a lot of minutes, but it was just about me just wanting to finish that game. They told me they was going to sit me for a minute and bring me back, so just itching to get back in and didn't want to sit.
Kawhi pushed to get back in. They sat him for a minute in overtime. He did get back in. Thank goodness he did, as he would close the game out.
Minutes, but it was just about me just wanting to finish that game. They told me they was going to sit me for a minute and bring me back, so just itching to get back in and didn't want to sit.
There was Kawhi postgame after this buzzer beater.
Game clock at 15. Clippers down 1. Kawhi hovers the ball above the shoe tops at 10. Working on Murray. Still has his dribble. 8 seconds. It's Leonard against the world with 6. Dribbles it with 5. Right elbow with 4. Kawhi with 3. Back to the basket. Spins into the paint. The floater for the win. Rolls in! And the Clippers come back to beat the Kings. 111-110. Kawhi, the hero, in overtime and Intuit.
And now we find out if that victory can be something more, if it can propel them forward, if they can extend this 3-game homestand, this winning streak at Intuit Dome, and take it out on the road. Clippers will be in New Orleans against the Pelicans on the front end of a back-to-back starting tomorrow. On Wednesday, they will be in Miami. The Pelicans have had Zion Williamson back as of late. Quickly, if you want to know where they're at, and it's really tough to judge the numbers and doing a whole preview on the Pelicans because they've been ravaged by injuries. It's been incredible. Oh, Mo Bamba just signed with them on a 10-day, so the Clippers might see him. They have lost 4 in a row. Before that, they had won 4 of 5, and it looked like they were turning things around a little bit, but they're 17-48. But Zion has been back. They just lost a close one in their last game out against the Memphis Grizzlies, 107-104. Zion didn't play in that game. So, man, I'll check their injury report, but it's just a hard team to read because you don't know who's playing. So how meaningful are the numbers when you look at them overall? Because it's obviously dependent on who's actually out there on the court. Zion's day today. So he was out for rest purposes against Memphis in a game they almost won. CJ McCollum also day to day for rest purposes. So this is a team that I'm guessing they have their first round pick and they are trying to capture the flag here. But I wouldn't be shocked if both of them play tomorrow after they got a day off. Brandon Boston is out. Former Clipper, left ankle injury. And obviously, DeJounte Murray's out for the season with that torn right Achilles after he was out earlier in the year with some issues. Then he comes back, he tears the Achilles, just brutal. And Herb Jones out with a torn rotator cuff. They have been through it, man. Philly's been through it. They've been through it. You know, we talk about the Clippers injuries all the time, but it could be worse, guys. As Ivica Zubot once said,
"It can always be worse. It can always be worse."
Yeah, I kept that soundbite. I expect Zion and CJ to play. My guess is Kawhi plays this game instead of the one in Miami. I could see it both ways, but you kind of want to build off that momentum. You want to make it 4 in a row. And if Zion plays, that's a tough game. That is one of the better players when he's available in the league. CJ is tough. They've always had a tough time with the Pelicans in general, regardless of what state they're at, who's available. So, you know, Brandon Ingram, they don't have to deal with anymore. But, yeah, my guess is Kawhi plays in this one. And Miami has been struggling since the Jimmy Butler trade, who has been thriving now as a member of the Golden State Warriors after getting that huge contract extension. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 4 of 5. They're losing to some bad teams and some good ones, though. They lost to Cleveland recently. They lost to Minnesota in a close one. They also lost to Chicago. So if Zion plays, I mean, you can make the argument that the tougher game is actually the game against the Pelicans if he and CJ are playing versus the game against the Heat with where they're at. They've been losing a lot as of late. So I lean towards Kawhi plays in the game in New Orleans tomorrow, but we'll see with the injury report coming up later tonight. We'll have a Clips and Dip episode for you later. But I do want to remind you, Clippers Talk is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy sports, and it's available in over 30 states. All you got to do is pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats or, your least favorite player stats if you want to hate. And you can win up to 100 times your money either way. Make picks, win money. Got the free promo code. This will give new users a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. The promo code is LAC, and you can find it and the referral link in the description down below in this very episode. Underdog Fantasy, make picks, win money. Appreciate you guys, the callers, the listeners, the chatters in here. Tomer Azarly for calling in, giving us his thoughts after a historic night at Intuit Dome, with the first ever buzzer beater there, appropriately made by Kawhi Leonard. He trusts the work, even on a night where he was 6 of 18 before that shot. He trusts the work. He got it to go with the left hand. It is something he does every pregame workout. He is an absolute machine with the way he goes through that routine, and it paid off in a big way. Thank goodness. God bless Kawhi Leonard, because the Clippers needed that one. We'll see if this can be something they build off of and they can keep this momentum going. A lot of positivity here in the chat. Clipper Nation's feeling better. I said on Clips and Dip, if you want a shot of still being a top 6 seed, gain that 6th spot, you had to win all 3 at home, sweep the homestand. They did. Have they fully righted the ship? We'll find out on the road. Clippers in New Orleans tomorrow. Pregame show starting at 4 right back here. I'm Adam Osland. We will talk to you then.
Off the air.